Wintersday is here for Tyria, and I didn't get to do Wintersday last year. We had just bought the house and we were busy renovating and everything, so I kind of just didn't play Guild Wars 2 for the entire time. This year comes around and I started talking to some guildmates about like what to expect because we just had Halloween and I thought maybe we'd have some cool stuff like that. And I learned there's a rhythm game, and I love rhythm games. Specifically, I love Dance Dance Revolution, because back in the day, I used to tear DDR up. And it happens to be that I still have my old DDR pad, and it happens to be that it's like the Rolls Royce of DDR pads. This is my Cobalt Flux. This was the best DDR pad you could get back in the day. But I thought it would be interesting to see if I could play the rhythm game in Guild Wars with my DDR pad. There's a few challenges I think we're gonna encounter, but let's see if we can do it. The first is that the DDR pad itself is just switches. It's just buttons, basically. It can't really talk to a computer since it's just buttons. So when you bought it new, it came with a control box. So it would plug into the DDR pad, the control box would plug into your PlayStation or your computer or whatever, and it would act like a gamepad. So it's pretty simple, but I lost that years ago. I bought this thing in high school, so it's long gone. So a couple years ago, I think it was 2017 or so, I made my own. I got on Amazon and I got a like a generic USB game controller interface. Basically the inside of a regular USB gamepad, just without like any buttons or anything. And I designed and 3D printed this little housing for it. And it has a port on the front of it. It's like a VGA port, just happens to be what the DDR pad uses. And then it has a couple extra buttons on top just so you could like navigate menus, because again, it was for DDR. I wanted like left, right, you know, start and cancel. So I made this thing. I have a controller port now for it, and I think I can make it work. I think we just have to map it to keybinds on Guild Wars 2, because as you know, Guild Wars 2 has no gamepad support, and this thing just pretends to be a gamepad. I have a couple other challenges I need to worry about. The other one on the software side is my DDR pad only has 4 inputs, and the rhythm game in Guild Wars is set up like, it's actually set up like Guitar Hero, and in fact the notes correspond with the notes in Guitar Hero, but I didn't play Guitar Hero. I was a DDR kid. I didn't play Pump It Up. I didn't play Guitar Freaks, which is what Guitar Hero ripped off. So I need to make this work with a DDR pad. My controller only has 4 keys. It has up, down, left, right. I think the way I'm gonna get around it is by also binding this 8-bit do controller to it. And I think what I'll try is like maybe binding a shoulder key to shift or control. That way I can do 1, 2, 3, 4 as my arrow keys. And then if I hold shift or control, I can make that do like 5, 6, 7, 8 or 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so we'll try that. This will be interesting.
I found an application called Keysticks, which basically lets you bind gamepad inputs to keyboard and mouse outputs. I set up 2 profiles, one for the 8-bit do controller with the right trigger set to control, and another profile for the DDR pad, mapping the arrow buttons on the pad to the number buttons on the game. Then, in the Guild Wars 2 game controls, I map skills 6 through 9 to also be activated by pressing Control plus 1 through 4. This means that by default, the DDR pad will hit all the notes on the left of my skill bar, and holding the right trigger on the gamepad will make the DDR pad hit all the notes on the right of the skill bar. It's obviously an elegant and intuitive control scheme, and I see absolutely nothing that could go wrong.
Nope. It didn't work at all.
Obviously, I needed some practice, and it didn't help that the left arrow button was being finicky. So sorry, other players.
Come on, easy one. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck, are you kidding me? Yeah, I didn't think so.
But eventually, I mostly made it through a whole game.
All right, I think I figured out how to make my number 1 key work. I just have to stand on the left of the center. Not sure why. This thing's like 20 years old, so there's probably a short somewhere. I made it through 2 rounds. Nope. Up, forward. Fine. Okay. Still survived. 3 rounds. Oh yeah, I can heal. Nope. Nope. 3, 4, 5. Whew. One round left. What's it gonna be? Okay, 1. Nope. Nope. You know what? I did good enough.
But before I left the festivities in Divinity's Reach, there's one more thing I wanted to try.
So I just realized I can set up a keybind that presses a key when I release a button. So I set it to release, I set it to press space when I release the down key. And I think I can make that work. Yeah, I know, jumping puzzle hard. Can zoom in a little bit. Okay, action camera mode. All right, I need to stand here. Yeah. All right, here goes nothing. Yeah. Nope. Fine. Oh, shit. There's a bit of a delay here. Ah. Damn it. Oh, frick. Ah. All right, I think that's enough jumping puzzle for now. Well, I am sufficiently exhausted. It didn't look like much, but it was a lot harder than it looked. If I learned anything today, it's that rhythm games are stupid and DDR pads are not as good as they were when I was 19 and 120 pounds. I think for now, I'll stick to playing the game with regular controls. Anyway, hope you enjoyed watching me make a fool out of myself, and I'll see you in the next one.